Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're stepping into, well, the gentle, enduring world of Miss Read's Fairacre novel.
A lovely place to visit.
It really is. And we're going to meet a character whose impact, it's quiet, woven into the community fabric.
You mean Emily Davis?
Emily Davis,
Like-
exactly. Her story resonates so deeply. She's often right at the heart of the novel, Emily Davis.
She really embodies that compassion, resilience, enduring friendship.
Right. And Miss Read, through Emily, she just masterfully celebrates those steadfast, often unsung women.
The ones who shape lives and communities not with big showy gestures, but with that quiet strength and grace.
Precisely.
And that's exactly what we want to unpack in this deep dive. We've looked at the Emily Davis novel, obviously Miss Clare remembers, and various studies.
So what's our mission here?
Well, our mission is to go beyond just sort of listing Emily's traits. We want to reveal how her seemingly ordinary life gives us these extraordinary insights
Into what specifically?
into really universal themes, I think. Things like vocation, loss, the quiet power of friendship.
And everyday kindness as heroism.
Exactly that. It's about understanding how lives lived with dignity, purpose, even away from the spotlight, can hold just immense significance.
Okay, so where do we start with Emily's story?
We have to start with her early life, I think, and that really remarkable lifelong bond she had with Dolly Clare, Miss Clare as we know her.
Right, back in Beach Green, they had those modest Edwardian upbringings.
Yeah, and it's fascinating how the cultural expectations back then, especially for women, really shaped their paths, didn't they?
Definitely. Teaching wasn't just a job for them.
No, it became a true vocation. It gave them structure, meaning a real sense of service.
Which was quite something at the time.
What really stands out about their friendship, though, is its unique depth. It truly formed the emotional backbone of their lives together.
Just the sources make that very clear.
They do. There's that quote. There was never any need to explain between them. Each knew the other's mind almost as well as her own.
That suggests such a rare connection, almost intuitive.
It really does. And it's compelling because they weren't clones, were they? Dolly was more measured, reserved.
And Emily had that livelier spirit, a bit bolder, maybe. Strong sense of justice, too.
Exactly. But instead of causing friction, those differences actually enriched their bond.
Made it stronger.
Yeah. And their shared cottage and retirement. It became this incredible haven, warmth, candor, that affectionate interdependence.
It really mirrors the intimacy of a lifelong partnership, doesn't it? Built on decades of shared history.
Absolutely.
So beyond her personal ties, there's Emily's professional life as a teacher.
Right, teaching the older children.
Yeah.
Unlike Miss Clare with the little ones.
Now, the novels don't give us loads of classroom scenes, do they?
Not really, no.
But her impact on the pupils, on the village, it's undeniably clear. You feel the respect she commanded.
You do.
How did Miss Read manage to convey that influence, that sort of deeper impact, without all the detailed anecdotes?
That's a great observation. I think her teaching wasn't just about, facts and figures. It was a guiding presence. A really fascinating blend of emotional strength and moral clarity, but always supportive, never judgmental.
Guiding, not pushing.
Exactly. Miss Read offers this powerful reflection on it, noting perhaps that had been the secret of Miss Davis's strength. She went at her own pace and had time to relish all the lovely natural things.
That's beautiful.
It is.
Exactly.
It goes on. And when the occasion arose, that happiness could succor the weak and give strength and heart to those who needed it.
Wow. That really makes you think, doesn't it? Is joy just like a nice feeling, or is it a source of strength itself?
And Miss Read clearly thinks they're deeply intertwined, beautifully so.
But her story isn't all warmth and teaching, is it? There's a quiet heartbreak there, too.
Yes, like Dolly Clare, Emily faced a really significant personal betrayal.
The engagement to Edgar.
That's right. He was this promising young man, but he came back from the war. Well, profoundly changed, traumatized.
During his recovery.
He fell in love with his nurse.
Yeah.
And with great regret, apparently, he broke off the engagement with Emily.
Oh, that's just devastating. It could have completely broken someone.
It really could have. But what's truly insightful, I think, is Emily's response, how she handled that deep wound.
What did she do?
Well, Miss Read says she was badly hurt, obviously. But she made a conscious choice. She chose not to let bitterness take root.
That takes incredible strength.
It really does. Instead, the book says she filled the space with purpose. She didn't just retreat into sadness or, dwell on what might have been.
She leaned into her work, her friendship.
Exactly. Teaching and the comfort of her friendship with Dolly. And remarkably, she never spoke harshly of Edgar.
Never.
They're mentioned in the texts. Her life became this quiet testament to resilience, built not on grand statements, but on those daily acts of care, grace, quiet strength.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, about our modern idea of resilience. We often focus on big comebacks.
Right. Are we overlooking this quieter kind? This sustained, deliberate choice to invest in purpose over bitterness? It's a really interesting question Emily's story raises.
And that quiet resilience had also extended to her family life, didn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Her unwavering devotion to her family, especially her mother.
She stayed at home to care for her mother, whose health was declining.
Yes, for an extended period. And while that certainly limited her, social freedom,
It seemed to enrich her sense of duty, purpose.
that's how Miss Read presents it. There's an observation. Emily had cared for her mother with patience and grace, never allowing herself to resent the demands, but rather folding them into the rhythm of her own life.
That says so much about her character.
It really does. And it's crucial, I think, that this caregiving was never painted as martyrdom.
No, not a sacrifice in a negative way.
Right. More like a natural extension of her core values.
Hmm.
Kindness, loyalty, self-discipline.
And her decision not to marry after Edgar, that was partly tied to this responsibility.
Partly, yes. But it also seems like a clear choice to remain with those who needed her most. After her mother died, she continued to care for her brother.
As his housekeeper, wasn't it?
Yes, steadily, without complaint. And Miss Read consistently portrays these commitments not as, tragedies that diminished her.
But as a path to a different kind of richness.
Exactly. A richness found through constancy, through service, finding joy even within limits. It's kind of quiet heroism, isn't it? The kind that often goes unnoticed in our, louder world.
And then the novel Emily Davis, it uniquely starts with her passing,
Yes, which immediately tells you the impact she had. It frames the whole story as a look back.
allowing us to really grasp the grief felt across the villages. Beach Green, Fairacre, Caxley.
And it's particularly poignant for Dolly Clare, of course, facing life alone after all those decades together.
That must have been incredibly hard.
The funeral scene itself is beautifully understated, but deeply heartfelt. Villagers gather not out of duty, but real affection.
You feel that connection.
You do. And Miss Read's reflection just encapsulates Emily's quiet, transformative impact. She writes, "Life went on. No matter what happened, life went on."
A simple truth.
But somehow, when Emily Davis died, something essential to Fairacre was lost. And yet, in her memory, there were the seeds of comfort.
Seeds of comfort. That's lovely. Her legacy isn't about dramatic change, is it?
No, not grand monuments. It's more like a lasting impression, a quiet sense of comfort that flowers in the remembered kindness she showed.
So, after digging into her life, what does this all boil down to? What's the essence of Emily's character? How do we sum up what made her so, remarkable?
I think her power lies exactly in her nuance. She wasn't outwardly dramatic, but her inner world was incredibly rich.
You see that emotional intelligence.
Yes, her wisdom, that sacrificial love, intuitive generosity. She was someone who famously listened more than she spoke.
Offered help without needing any fuss or recognition.
Exactly. Never sought the spotlight. But, as you said earlier, that quiet manner hit a core of steel.
Definitely. Rebuilding her life after that betrayal, choosing purpose, that shows incredible strength.
It really does. And through it all, she consistently chose kindness. There was that reader review, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, the one calling her the kind of person you'd want to sit beside when your world was falling apart.
That sums it up beautifully, I think. And underneath it all, there was that serene spiritual outlook.
Not overtly religious, though?
No, not in an institutional way. It hinted more at a deep inner faith, maybe, in goodness, order, the healing power of time and care. It's a quiet strength that just resonates.
And we absolutely have to talk about that friendship between Emily and Dolly. It's just remarkable.
One of the most moving relationships in all of Miss Read's work, I'd say.
Absolutely. And in a literary world, often focused on big romances or family drama.
Their relationship stands out, doesn't it, for its refreshing authenticity.
What makes it so compelling, do you think?
Well, the way their interdependence in old age was a chosen, deliberate companionship.
Right, not just convenience or codependence.
No, it was a deep honoring of shared history, mutual affection. And if you think about the bigger picture, Miss Read is really celebrating a form of love that rarely gets centered in fiction.
That enduring platonic love between two older women.
Exactly. It's been called a radical and tender act of storytelling. giving that kind of relationship the space and dignity it deserves, challenging our assumptions about what makes a fulfilling life.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, it feels clear that while Emily Davis didn't, dominate the pages with bold actions,
Her presence is profound. It reverberates through the village, and definitely in readers' hearts.
her life, framed by that quiet service, steadfast love, gentle courage, it feels like a beautiful tribute.
To countless women, really. Those who lived with dignity outside the spotlight, modeling purpose without pretense.
Whether they were nursing a broken heart or shaping young minds.
Hmm. And her companionship with Dolly Clare, especially, gave them not just a friend, but a shared way of seeing the world, built on kindness, honesty.
Emily's story really reminds us that heroism often lies in, well, restraint maybe, acceptance.
And choosing compassion, again and again, even in the smallest daily things.
Like the scent of sweet peas or a well-loved room.
Exactly. Her memory lingers gently, reminding us of the enduring strength in grace, in quiet service, and crucially, in that chosen companionship that can truly define a life.
So a final thought for you listening as you go about your day, maybe consider, what quiet acts of kindness or dedication in your own life or in the lives of people around you, what acts hold the most profound and lasting value?